What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Now we're going to look at Mythvision, who actually put a video out with Dr. Ronald McDonald. That's his actual name, middle name. I've done a video on that one before and you can check out that link here. That's like a longer detailed breakdown on everything about Christing and the ancient Greek word for Christing, which means to rub and smear. And then I also did a video where I broke down Mark 14:48-52 with the Neoniskos and the young man, with Jesus being arrested in the park with a naked boy, which is the Neoniskos. Now let's take a look at Mythvision and see what happened just after I made my first video where I absolutely destroyed all the stuff he was talking about in his original video with this dude. This dude puts his video behind a members only paywall, so no one can access it but his members. The good thing is they're finally realizing that if they put this shit out there for everyone to see, anyone, and I mean anyone, me, you, any classicist can go and look at this and go, this is bullshit, because I did it in my last video on them. So anyone can do it. So it's a good thing now that we're finally pushing them back to their own echo chamber so they can just keep saying all this bullshit that's not even real and not true, and make up this false narrative that they want to tell their own members and own people and own listeners. That's fine. That means we finally cracked them and they don't want to put this shit out in public anymore, which is great. So we're having an effect. But look at all this. This is the key point. Mythvision is shilling for all these fucking people in his description. Look at these MVP courses, sign up for courses, sign up for courses, sign up for this course, for this person's course, blah, blah, all these fucking courses. So you can pay and pay and pay all these people. Now, why would he be doing that? That doesn't make sense. Oh, look here, give me money, give me money, give me money. Listen to all the podcasts. Oh, this is the bit. This is the big bit. Affiliate disclaimer. Some links may be affiliate links, which means I may earn a small commission. So he makes money off putting all these links in his description. That's all it's about. Because if he cared about the truth and what the actual texts say, he wouldn't be talking shit with these people and putting it behind a paywall. But we know what he's doing. It's all right in front of you. He's gonna make money from putting all this shit in his description and all these people's links in this video, so they can, go buy my books or go buy this course. It's ridiculous. This is what is called the brothel. Saying things that are not true and selling shit, and admittedly making money off it. That's who this guy is. Let's take a look at what it says, because we're not going to be able to watch it, but we're going to break it down anyway. From what the description says, Dennis Ronald McDonald breaks down one of the most misunderstood and controversial scenes in the Gospel of Mark and explains why sensational interpretations, we're not interpreting anything, are philologically and historically wrong. So he says they're drawing on Greek language, ancient mythological tropes, and Homeric parallels. This episode reveals, here we go, why the figure is a Neoniskos, a fit young man, not a child. So we'll get right down to it. This is Neoniskos, and this is from the English-Greek lexicon of the New Testament, all right? The New Testament lexicon. So these are the people that are talking about what's in the New Testament. And right here it says, a Neoniskos in Mark 14:51, which is the verse we're talking about, is used of a young attendant or servant, or in our modern day vernacular, a slave. How can I say that? Because paidiske is the female version, the feminine version right here. And what does that say in the New Testament lexicon of ancient Greek? It says it's the feminine version of a young boy, paidiskos, or a slave. Okay? See Neoniskos. So it's talking about Neoniskos, paidiskos, young boy or slave. In Mark 14:51, it's of a young attendant or servant. So it's talking about being a slave. And the feminine version is paidiske, which is a young female slave. That's the key point. How young are we talking? Well, according to Hesychius, a Neoniskos is equal to a napios. So what is a napios? A napios in the lexicon of the New Testament is an infant or little child, or a minor not of age. And in the LSJ, it says infant, child, from infancy, and of children up to puberty, here in the red. So that's the age range we're talking about. From infancy to puberty, not a fit young man. It's a child. Mythvision, I don't understand mentally how you can actually do this, but I guess that's just me. I'm not wired that way. I'm not wired for, hey, I need to make more money and I don't give a shit about the truth and the facts and the evidence. I'm the opposite. I'm like, I don't care about the money, give me the evidence. And the evidence says of children up to puberty, and it's a slave, a child slave. And then we look at the definition of what the child was actually doing. Suna kolutheo, this is the verb. Follow along with or closely accompanying. And it's talking about attending to, like a slave would. And he had a sindon, which is a fine cloth used for mummies. So you know what kind of cloths we're talking about. If you think of ancient Egypt, what kind of cloths were they? Yeah, they were wrapping cloths. So it's a fine cloth wrapped around the child's gumnos, which is nakedness. which I think you can deduce what nakedness means in this case. How Mark mirrors the story of Elpenor and the Odyssey. Elpenor, the dude who got drunk and fell off the roof and died and broke his neck. I don't know how that mirrors the story of Mark at all. So why are these people using Greek literature to drive the narrative of their stories if they're not thinking Greek, speaking Greek, and writing in Greek? How Mark uses Homeric imitation to shape his gospel. See, more ancient Greek ideas and literary imitation of Homer to shape his gospel. So if they were writing in Aramaic and Hebrew, why then are they using Homer to shape their literary gospels and narratives? To me, that says, hey, they got a Greek mindset and they're using Greek to drive their narratives because they've been living in a world that's been brought up in Greek. Why the naked young man and the clothed young man at the tomb are literary echoes. I actually did show you that in the last one, where Bart Ehrman, another biblical scholar, said there was no one in the tomb. The tomb was empty, he said. At least he's saying, hey, there was another Neoniskos in the tomb, which is, we know what a Neoniskos is now. We've seen it. So he was clothed with a white robe. A young man sitting on the right side dressed in a white robe. But we just saw Neoniskos, child, up to puberty. The baptismal symbolism behind nudity in white garments, don't really care. And then this last bit, why claims of drugs, rituals, or abuse in this passage collapse under Greek scrutiny. Right here, the passage Mark 14, 48 to 52. We'll take a quick look at and just recap a few things just to show that this is bullshit what Mythvision is saying, or that the guy Mythvision has on is saying. Young man, that's what the English says, but in this one it says Neoniskos down here. And we can see this word in here, as I've shown in my previous video, in this video with Bart. Leistes, the word here that's pointing to, refers to, according to Hesychius as well, a paiderastes. Kentauroi leistai. So these are all equating. Paiderastai. In the lexicon, this is what a paiderastes is, okay? So this is what Jesus is saying he's not doing. Not a leistes, not a paiderastes. That's what they're equating. Why would Jesus say this if he wasn't arrested with a naked boy in Mark? It makes sense now, doesn't it? It all makes sense now why he's saying all these things. I'm not a leistes while there's a naked young man. This is how they want to translate this. Young man. We just saw it's a Neoniskos, which is a little boy. When he went out to the garden, he was ektham beistai kai hademonein. What the hell does that mean? Now, in the English, began to be greatly troubled and distressed. Let's look at see what the lexicon says about these words. Hektham beo, which is the verb, which is to be amazed, and to be amazed, astonished. So we can use the word he was in amazement, astonishment, and he was adamoneo, to be sorely troubled, dismayed, in anguish. What is anguish? Severe mental or physical pain or suffering. He's in amazement and anguish just after he's done the rites and administered the flesh and blood with the kids, well, with the disciples, mathaitai. And then it says, 35, he went forward and fell on the ground. He fell on the ground. So what is causing this dude to be in a state of amazement, anguish, and falling on the ground? This isn't normal behavior. But it is if you've just taken a bunch of drugs or drank the blood that has drugs in it, which is what we see in Mark 16:18, when he says, you will lift up snakes and drink thanasimon. Now what's thanasimon? It means a death inducer. And it is talking of drugs. As we've seen Josephus, which I showed in my last video, Josephus says it is a pharmacon, a drug, death-inducing drug. Neither the drugs nor the death inducers will hurt you. And Jesus says the same thing. You're going to take thanasimon, the death-inducing drugs, and you're not going to get hurt. So we are talking about drugs in Mark. Now, you want to tell you it's not in this case before, in Mark 14, with the kid, but what does it say? It says Jesus is falling on the ground while he's in a state of amazement and anguish. While there is a little boy with a linen bandage wrapped around his nakedness, attending to him like he's a servant or a slave. That's what the ancient Greek says. He's hiding things behind a paywall now. The general public doesn't have to listen to it, just his members, which I think this is a good thing, and I hope it keeps happening. It should say that if I can do this, you should be able to do it too. And you are able to do it. Just go to the sources like I'm doing. All you got to do is read the damn book, like these people do not. It's sad to see what money will do to some people. If that's the choice you want to make, you've made it.